Welcome to Learning in Small Bites 04. This is an introduction to how to create an advertisement. Please make sure that you've signed in. We are going to look at the possible uses of systems in the process for creating an advertisement or advert and then publishing it online. The advert that we produce will be for a fictitious job in our fictitious University of Small Bites. You can click on the information box for general, extra and technical information on system basics. In the last video we created a job spec for a shop assistant. Here it is, ready to be used with an advert. Note that its status is published. Now let's create an advert to invite applications for the shop assistant job. All of what I will speak through can be found in the help for this section. Ignore the reference box, this will be allocated by the system when we save. Let's add a title, Shop Assistant. We will set the job to be available for release to our vacancies page today, and we will set it to close in about 3 weeks' time. If you have watched video 02 about the organisation structure, you will be familiar with the various parts of our fictitious University of Small Bites. As this is a demonstration of how to work through a process, we have only shown the top level units of the organisation. In a real system, you would be able to drill down to the relevant other sections or teams. This job is based in corporate support services. And the job is graded at grade 5. Here we decide the number of hours we are recruiting the person to work. We already know from the job spec we created that there are 40 full-time hours per week, so let's enter 40. The salary range will pull through when we save. Now we have saved for the first time, we see our adverts list and the shop assistant advert. It has a status of local, meaning only the person writing it can see it. A reference has now been allocated. Here we can choose whether this is a permanent role or a role that is for a fixed duration and is therefore temporary. In some situations there might be options for either temporary or permanent working. We will select permanent. Main duties and responsibilities. Here we write something short and engaging to capture an applicant's attention and give them a quick overview of what the job is about and why they might want to apply. Key requirements. Here we can add in a handful of aspects from the previously created person spec that the person absolutely must have in order to do the job. Further details. Here we can add in some extra information encouraging the reader to apply or giving them a telephone number or email address to contact to learn more about the job. General details. Some organisations may prepare a web page that tells the applicant more about the job and the organisation. A link to that web page can be put in the general details box. We don't have such a page, so for demonstration purposes I will just put a link to our About page. Job specification. Here we will put a link to the job specification that we created earlier. To get this, we click on the list icon and this opens a page with a list of our published job specs. We open the shop assistant job spec and copy its web page link. Return to the advert and paste the link in. There are probably easier ways to do this, but I hope that you get the general idea. Equality statement. Legislation allows employers to positively encourage certain groups to apply for jobs if they are found to be underrepresented in an organisation or service area. This is a way of indicating to potential applicants that it is recognised that for some reason certain groups do not even apply for work in certain areas, so the organisation wishes to give a message to say that they are welcome. For demonstration purposes, we have built in 3 scenarios pertaining to positively encourage people from ethnic minority groups and women to apply. In a role like shop assistant in a college shop, all we need is a general statement which encourages anyone with suitable skills to apply. Even a statement such as this is encouraging as it helps demonstrate that the organisation genuinely welcomes applications from all suitably skilled applicants. Now let's save the job. Underneath the save icon we have the proof icon. The proof of an electronic advert shows what it would look like online. Now we see our job in its finalised state. Notice the equality statement. Clicking on the further information link will take a prospective applicant to the About Us page that I mentioned earlier. Clicking on the job specification link will take the prospective applicant to the job spec that we now know so well. Returning to the proof, we can also see when the job was posted and when it will close. An interesting piece of programming logic is how to get a job to close at the last second of the day on the closing date. A way to achieve that is for the system to set itself to close on the stroke of midnight of the next day minus 1 second. All of this is handled by the system, but I thought I would mention it to show that developers are sensitive to the fact that the closing time is as important as the closing date. Our job is scheduled for release to the vacancies page of our website for the world to access. When we click on our link to the vacancies page, the job isn't there yet. I'm sure you've guessed that the reason the job cannot be seen is because it's still local, which means it hasn't been published yet. In many organisations, the person who writes an advert must then put it into a workflow to another person. That person will then check it and ensure it complies with corporate rules on wording and the agreed grade and style. This person will then tick the publish box to release the advert onto the web. This is known as separation of duties and is quite important with documents that are going to be published and form part of a contractual process. So let's click publish and save and return to the vacancies page. Now we have a new job advert for a shop assistant online for everyone to see. Notice how it has an apply button which takes us to an application form. In our next video we will go through what an online application form looks like and the basics of what the sections are about. Until then, goodbye and thank you again for watching.